Hi, my name's Alvin, and I'm going to be your clinical psychologist today. Can you provide me your name?
I'm Michael Phelps, and I'm 36 years old.
36 years old. And can you provide me your date of birth?
June 30th, 1985.
June 30th, 1985. And then what gender do you identify yourself as?
Male,
And then your race?
Caucasian.
And are you married?
Yes,
Alrighty. And have you ever been divorced?
I have not.
And then do you live with your spouse?
Yes,
Alrighty, thank you. And then where were you born?
I was born in Baltimore, Maryland.
And did you grow up there as well?
Yes,
And then did both of your parents raise you?
yes, they did.
And then do you have any siblings or step siblings?
I have two sisters.
And how's your relationship like with your sisters?
We're all very close. Very competitive when it comes to sports, but very loving relationship.
And are they older than you or younger than you?
They're younger.
And do you feel like that competitiveness ever like interfered with your relationship with them?
Um, it's hard to compare because they're girls, but we've always been very close, and the competitiveness has helped us with our swimming because we all swim. So
And just to clarify, so you guys use that like competition in a positive way to encourage each other to do better?
yes,
And then how many times have you been married?
only once.
And do you believe your marriage is going well?
Yes, very well.
Alrighty. And then do you have any children?
Yes, we have three children,
And then are they sons or daughters?
all boys.
And how old are they?
Um, 2, 3, and 5.
And then do you keep in contact with your children?
Yes, I do.
Do you ever feel like being an Olympian ever um, makes it harder to find time for them?
Um, I did with my first son, but um, then I kind of stopped competing in the Olympics, and now I like to focus on being a dad and teaching my kids how to swim. So maybe one day they can be Olympians too.
What was the highest grade level you ever completed in school?
4 years of college at the University of Michigan.
And then did you like school?
I did like school, but I was more at school for the sports, not academics.
And then what were your grades like?
I was never a straight A student, but I didn't ever fail. So, I also had a little bit of a hard time with school because I have ADHD, and so that um, doesn't make it easy for me to focus a lot because most of my focus goes towards swimming, and so my academics kind of are pushed to the back burner.
Did you get diagnosed with ADHD when you were younger, or
Yes, when I was in 6th grade.
did your ADHD ever affect your behavior in school at all?
I would just say that it just made me not perform well on tests and quizzes and different homework tasks.
And then did you ever have a job?
I would just say that my life growing up really revolved around swimming. I was up in the morning before school swimming, and then after school I would swim. So there was really no time for a job. And then to classify my job as of now, I would just say professional or amateur athlete.
Do you find that swimming was somewhat of your career early on in life?
I do, just because I started at such a young age, and I actually have written 2 books, but they both revolve around swimming too. So I really just classify swimming as my job.
And then have you ever been in the military at all?
I've not.
Have you, are you aware of any complications during your birth?
No.
And then did you crawl, walk, and talk when you were supposed to?
Yes.
Have you ever suffered from a head injury or a loss of consciousness?
No.
Are you currently being treated for any physical illnesses or injuries?
No.
Are you taking any type of medications at the moment?
Um, yes, I take my ADHD medicine and then I take a medicine for depression.
And then have you ever suffered from seizures or blackouts?
No.
And then does your medication, do you feel like has improved your behavior or moods?
It definitely makes me not acknowledge the little things, but it doesn't completely eliminate my feelings of depression at times and ADHD, me not focusing in times that I should.
And have you ever been abused physically, sexually, or emotionally at all?
No.
Alrighty. And then have you ever abused any substances, including alcohol, cigarettes, or marijuana?
Yes, I drink alcohol and have used marijuana before, and I actually got a DUI in 2004 for drinking under the influence and driving.
Do you think your DUI ever affected your depression at all?
Um, I think it was more a coping mechanism to drink, and I don't think the driving really had anything to do with my depression. I think that I just put a lot of pressure on myself when it comes to competition and wanting to be the best. And so I think that's what causes my depression when in times of like my lows, when I'm not like winning a medal or something, I feel bad about myself. And then I lean on alcohol or smoking to help me feel better.
And have you ever been treated for substance abuse, going to AA or rehab at all?
I've never been to AA, but I did have to go on 18 months of probation and was fined $250. And then I was ordered to attend a Mothers Against Drunk Driving meeting to speak against drinking and driving to high school students.
Did you find that service requirement to your probation, was it useful? And
Yes, for sure.
and then was the DUI your only current charge or previous charge?
Yes, my only charge. Although a picture was taken of me smoking marijuana. Um, but I wasn't charged for that. It just was like shown to the public eye, and um, I was looked down upon for a while for that.
Do you feel like there's more pressure on you since you are a celebrity in mainstream media constantly?
Um, I would say yes, although I love the pros to having my name be known and having an influence on certain individuals. I do put a lot of pressure on myself to please the world, and knowing that I can't really do anything in secret puts a lot of pressure on me.
Does your family have a history of mental illness at all?
They do not.
And then how would you describe your mood generally?
Um, Usually a bit unsatisfied and upset. Um, just considering I would definitely classify myself as a depressed human being. There are hard times of sadness and feeling neglected, but when I'm around my kids and my wife, I am happy and most of those feelings go away.
Have these feelings ever deep into suicidal ideation or gestures at all?
Yes. I get a lot in my head and want to be alone at times, and so I have had many thoughts of not wanting to be alive anymore.
And do you feel like your family and your loved ones help get you outside of your head?
I do. My wife definitely, and my kids, and my mom and sisters.
Very nice. Do you find, did you have any other previous diagnoses before your depression?
Um, no, not besides my ADHD.
And then and so you're on medication for both ADHD and depression?
Yes.
And do you do any therapy or anything else outside of medication?
Um, I do some therapy and mainly learning coping mechanisms to deal with such feelings. And that includes like being with my kids or swimming with my kids or just swimming for the fun of it, not competing.
And have you found therapy to be beneficial for you?
Yes.
And then have you do you know what psychiatric medications you are currently taking?
I'm not aware of the name off the top of my head.
Did you always take these medications or did you have to try previous medications and switch around?
Um, I've had to switch around my ADHD a couple times and my depression, just like trial and error to see what works. But I've been on the ones I'm using now for a good amount of time.
And so how do you spend a typical day?
A typical day for me looks like waking up and swimming, then coming back and playing with my sons and cooking for my wife. Um, I like to golf and be around my friends. I do a lot um, of volunteering in my community, and yeah, that's a typical day.
Are any of these things you do for fun, particularly?
Um, yeah, I would say I really enjoy um, hanging out with my friends and family and making sure that they feel happy and supported.
And then have you ever experienced a loss or constricted sense of interest in your activities day to day?
Yes, sometimes there are definitely bad days where um, certain things aren't as appealing as they are on other days. Those things vary from day to day, but there are definitely times that my interest in activities is constricted.
Do these feelings persist often or do they just fade away quite easily?
They tend to fade away, but sometimes it takes longer than other times.
Do you think these feelings ever impair your ability to interact with others?
Yes. I would say in moments of feeling depressed, I'm not one to really want to interact with others. And so those would be times where my ability to be around others would be affected. But usually I'm a pretty sociable person and enjoy being around big groups of people.
And have you talked to your wife about your depression before?
Yes, she knows all about it.
And has she been supportive and helping you through this process? Or,
Definitely supportive.
and then do you think you have a pretty active social life or do you think you're pretty introverted?
I'm very much an extrovert. I like to surround myself with friends and family because I know that they do make me very happy and distract me from my own personal issues and internal demons, I guess you could say. I try to be like a very avid social media user to share my story and help others to be more comfortable and acknowledge their own struggles. Um, but yes, I I would say I'm very much into the social atmosphere of life.
And then how would you describe your relationships with people in your social life?
Um, the relationships that I keep are very close ones. Like I said before, I just like to surround myself with people that make me happy so that I'm not um, just forcing myself into a stage of depression. And so I do not have very many relationships that are unhealthy, and just would say that all my relationships are built with love and happiness.
And do you think love and happiness is like the core of all your relationships, like the most important piece connecting you to them?
I would say so.
And then how do you handle an argument with your significant other or your friends or families?
Um, I try to be civil in any argument or fight that I'm involved in. So when things get heated, I may yell, but I never leave a fight unresolved.
Um, do you find that, do you often get into arguments with people, or do you find your nature of personality makes it easier to get along with them?
I guess I would say that arguments are mainly founded in times where I'm feeling depressed and maybe the other person doesn't really understand that feeling and things are misconstrued and misinterpreted that just get heated up for really no particular reason. Um, but I would say like I'm not an avid arguer. Like most the time things are very peaceful and civil, and it's not like I have an argument every day.
Thank you for being honest with all these questions. I think you've had a very interesting past, and these being has shaped who you are today. I appreciate you coming by, and hopefully we'll talk again soon.
Thank you.